Now we come to necklines. I'm going to be showing you a few different necklines to make the scrubs. This one's using the facing method. So what I've got here is a back facing, and I've interfaced that with a piece of woven interfacing, but whatever interfacing you've got at home will be fine, I'm sure. And then this is the front facing. Again, I've put some interfacing on there, fused that one on. And you take your back facing and sew those together at the shoulder seams. Oh no, I've forgotten a bit, sorry. You have got to finish your edges off. I've just overlocked all the way around the edge of the long edge of those pieces. So if you've got if you haven't got an overlocker, use a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. And you can, if you want to neaten that a little bit more, you can turn that edge over like that and sew along that edge, but I think they'll be fine if they're just overlocked. So sew these right sides together. You don't need to sew a French seam on these because all these edges here are going to be enclosed, and you'll find that, there we go, that sits nicely like that. When it's opened up, it'll look like that. Sew those together just with a 1 centimetre seam allowance, straight stitch, and then press those seams open like that when you've finished. Once you've done that, take your garment and sew the front piece to the back piece. So there's my front and there's my back, you can see that, and I've sewed those together at the shoulder seams, and I've used French seams for that. If you don't know how to sew a French seam, go and have a look at my video on how to sew French seams. And then around the edge, the neck edge, I've done a line of stitching all the way around the neck edge. It's just a normal straight stitch within your 1 centimetre seam allowance, and that's called a stay stitch. Because this is cut across the grain of the fabric, this will prevent it from bubbling out of shape. Stops it going all wavy. So once you've done that and sewn these two pieces together, you then put right sides together. So that's your facing piece, right sides together to the front of your garment. Match up your shoulder seams and pin that all the way round that neck edge. If you find that it's not sitting quite flat, if you line the edges of your fabric up together, I found this on some of them, it was doing this, then you might want to just pull it down a little bit. And if you have more of a seam allowance on your back piece than you do on the facing piece, it's better if it lays flat than if those two pieces are flush. So it all needs to lay flat. So once you've pinned that all the way around that neck edge, you then sew that together. Actually, shall we do this? Oh, one little tip actually is using a 1 centimetre seam allowance to sew this on the machine. But when you come to this bit here, you've got nowhere to line the edge of your fabric up on your sewing machine. So if you mark on this, 1 centimetre is there, 1 centimetre is there, and just draw a line down like that, and down like that. That's the actual line you'll be sewing. That'll give you a really nice V shape there. Okay. I don't need to show you how to sew this, do I? You're all okay to do that. So sew all the way round. I start at the back neck edge, all the way round to here. Put your needle down, turn, and then come all the way up that side. Then once you've done that, you need to clip your edges. So one that I've got a little bit more done here. So everywhere you've got a curve, you see I've just clipped into the curve. Just clip with a pair of scissors like that. Especially on this V, clip up as far as you can go without clipping your stitches. And once you've done that, if you've got one of these things, a tailor's ham, these are fantastic for the next bit. So what you want to do is press, let's open that up a bit, press that seam open first of all, like this. So you've sewn it together, you've clipped all your edges, all your curves, press it open and then press it over so the edges of your seam are right on the edge of that neck line, and then pop some pins in around here. Now before you sew the next piece, if you're putting size labels in, I've used a little piece, I haven't got any pre-made labels, so I've used a piece of twill tape, turned over the back, sewed that on, and then used a permanent marker, which is actually a sewing marker, not just any old marker, and then I can write the size on those. Okay, so once you've pinned that in place, you're then going to sew a 3 centimetre seam allowance around on this, and what I've done, as I did before, is I've marked a line here. It's very, very faint, but that is 3 centimetres from the edge of my neckline, and I can go and sew that now. Come over to the sewing machine. I'm actually going to free arm my sewing machine, so take that off, and then you can put the hole, so the underneath of my garment is underneath my machine. I'm actually going to start on the shoulder seam of this one, just on that shoulder seam. So I've got, let's wake the machine up. There we go. My 3 centimetre seam is here, so line the edge of your fabric up. That's going to get in the way, don't even think of that. 3 centimetres, there we go. I'm going to do a little bit of a back stitch, I think. It's only a uniform at the end of the day. And then, not looking at the needle, I'm watching here and trying to keep that straight as I go, which isn't easy when you're being videoed. So always watch here, and then you'll get a parallel line to the edge of your fabric. And now I come to the line that I've already drawn, because as I come to this bit, I've got nothing to follow, so I can follow the line that I've done there. You'll find that it comes off a facing piece slightly here, and then just once more, when you get to the point, put your needle down, turn, and then follow that line again. And once I get to there you go, I can follow my 3 centimetre seam allowance again over here. Watching that and not watching the where the pins are. You might want to use longer pins, like this one would be ideal. Don't like going over the pins. There we go. Be a bit careful when you're going over the shoulder seam, because you've got a few seams there, it's quite thick. And go slowly around these curves. There we go. Nearly there. And then just line up your last stitches with where you started with a back stitch. And there you have your beautiful neckline. So that's a neckline with a facing, and I'll show you another version later.